Really?
Yeah. So there weren't the chemicals that we have now, and there wasn't like the way to ferment it correctly. So it would rise sticky and bubbly. So it would bubble up and stick to containers all the time. So rye legally has to be 51% rye or more.
Okay.
But that's the limit. So like you can do 49% corn, 51% rye. And it's a lot easier to work with because corn's easier to work with. But if you do like a lot of the places now do 95% rye, 5% barley or corn, and that makes it very sticky. So ours is 55% rye, 28 corn, 17 barley. So it's a low rye, easier to work with. So sweeter, not as like spicy as a lot of ryes are.
What would be like a bullet rye? What is theirs? Do you
I would
know?
assume a 95% rye.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Pretty heavy rye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So bullet is actually made in
Lawrenceburg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, because I've heard that Lawrenceburg makes a lot of whiskeys for everybody. Like Templeton Rye is made in Lawrenceburg.
Yeah, Templeton, Whistle Pig,
Yeah.
Angel's Envy was made there. I think
Was
now
it
they're
really?
making their own stuff. Bullet, Rendezvous, High West.
No shit. High West is made there too?
It's the biggest distillery in North America.
Huh. Wow. That mash bowl, man. We played football down there back in high school, and you pull into that football stadium. It's a bowl.
Yeah, really.
It smells like whiskey.
Yeah, it smells like grain.
Yeah, you could get drunk just by sniffing the air. It was great.
Yeah, it's not a lot of people know it, but I always like to show everyone like how you can read the back of a bottle.
Yeah.
And tell way more than you need to know about a bottle of whiskey. If it doesn't say the words distilled by, then 99% of the time it's made in Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
That is crazy.
There's a couple other ones. I think there's one in like Arkansas or Oklahoma, and I think Tito's uses it. Another company uses them. But yeah, it's a contract distiller, and they just make disgusting amounts of money not even selling their own stuff or marketing their own stuff, and it's really really good juice. Yeah, it's incredible. So that's why everyone uses them.
Well, and it's different too, which blows me away. Like I think Templeton Rye may be one of my favorites.
It's really good.
Yeah, for like a $35 bottle.
Yeah,
right?
Oh yeah.
You know, there are definitely better whiskeys out there, but for $35, I feel like that beats a lot of $50 bottles even. High West is great.
High West is delicious. Yeah. So they kind of revolutionized. Them and Angel's Envy both did very different things.
Really? Like what do you mean by that?
So High West kind of revolutionized the barrel blending thing. So they would buy like Scotch from Scotland, and they would buy rye and bourbon from Lawrenceburg, and they would blend those together. So they have a spirit called Campfire. Okay. And it's a blend of Scotch and I want to say rye and bourbon. Okay. So it's like a smoky rye bourbon blend with Scotch. Very unique. Kind of the inspiration behind our peated bourbon.
Here, scooch up to that mic just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So they kind of revolutionized just blending liquor and making very unique, very cool stuff. And then we get like Angel's Envy. They kind of revolutionized barrel aging and barrel finishing. Okay. So they have sherry cask finish. So they started with MGP, and then they would take those and put them into like French barrels and sherry barrels, wine barrels, and just do some really cool stuff and finish it in there. So they made it their own rather than just buying MGP and barreling it, bottling it, and just selling it as is.
MGP?
Oh, sorry, MGP's in Lawrenceburg.
Oh, that's the
Midwest
the
Grain Processors. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So they buy the distilled whiskey from there, and then they finish it in a barrel or a
separate barrel. Yeah.
Okay, and then so like when it's Angel's Envy. Oh, I guess. Well, I don't know if we're allowed to. Whatever. Fuck it. We're not that big.
The other bands.
Yeah, the other brands. They buy the distilled whiskey. Is it the same distilled whiskey as they all use, and then they just finish it differently, or
it really depends. That I don't know. Some of them have contracts where they come in and they're like, "Hey, this is my recipe. I want. I want you to make 100 barrels a month. I'm going to buy it off of you in 4 years, and that's what I want." A lot of times they're also just like, we have 3 recipes that we have available at all times for different years. You can buy 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 10 year. You can buy different barrels of the same recipe.
So they age it there too.
Yeah, yep. So you can buy a custom. If you buy enough, you can get a custom blend. But you can also just like buy some of their pre-made stuff. That's incredible as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. It's a fascinating process. to me.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's a weird world, and with places like MGP and places like contract distillers, it makes the barrier of entry a lot easier.
Yeah,
because you can start by buying some of their stuff, and it's more expensive, but it's a really good entryway.
Yeah,
and you know the recipe, so you can try to replicate it when you finally get your equipment in and make your own stuff.
Yeah,
but the barrier of entry is very tough to go from like nothing to craft distilling, which is what we did. But you can also, like I said, buy stuff from these other distilleries and sell it as your own, and then slowly transition into selling your own pre-made stuff.
Right, because the typical start for somebody like you guys, for example, would be like brewery first, right? Because it's cheaper, and then to distillery.
Yeah, I mean, there's some way. It's very tough. There's some breweries that start and they get into distillation.
Yeah,
and that's one way to do it, because you already know how to do the hardest part of distillation, which is making a beer, fermentation.
Okay.
So when you make a whiskey, when you make a vodka, when you make a gin, when you make anything, you have to start by making a beer. It's called a distiller's beer. It doesn't taste very good. We're not worried about the hops. We're not worried about the malt, like the flavor you get after fermentation. We're more worried about the flavor you get after distillation. So like you start with your distiller's beer, then you distill it, and what distillation is just separating alcohol from water.
Okay.
Excuse me. So like...
Yeah, move that around as you need to.
Yeah. So when you make a whiskey, you start with a malty beer. And how distillation is possible is because alcohol and water have two separate boiling points. You have 212 for water, and I can't remember, it's like 179 or something like that for alcohol.
Oh wow, it's okay. So it's a lot lower.
So you keep it in between that range, like 200 degrees. And in a perfect world, all that water is going to stay behind because you haven't hit that temperature yet to evaporate that water. But all that liquor is going to evaporate and distill and go through your columns and get cleaner and cleaner. So you're leaving all the water behind, and you're bringing up and separating all the alcohol. So you can do hot distillation, which is the most common form because it's pure and it's easier. So that evaporates all the alcohol, and you go through all your columns and make a pure product. Or you can, and there's cold distillation, which really isn't common at all. But that's like if you ever get a beer and you put it in the freezer, the alcohol will not freeze, but the water will. So it'll blow up eventually. But if you get to the point before it blows up, that alcohol is going to be separated from the water, and you kind of made yourself your own little liquor.
That's pretty cool. Were you a big fan of science in school?
No, I hated science.
Really?
I was terrible at science.
Really?
Yeah, if they would have put it in terms of alcohol, though, then
game over.
Yeah,
you would have been getting straight A's.
Yeah, maybe we would have had something a little different. I would have been a good student. But chemistry, D-, D+. I think I just barely got through chemistry.
Oh, I didn't even make it to chemistry.
Yeah.
So I wasn't that smart.
I think we had to. I don't know. I was just there. But my distiller and my business partner Brad, he just kind of explained everything to me, and it's very easy once it's something you enjoy and you're like, hey, I can make a living selling alcohol. Yeah, teach me how to make alcohol.
Yeah, selling spirits, right?
Yeah,
lifting spirits.
Yeah,
or
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah,
right.
Hand in hand.
Yeah, it depends on who the person is.
Exactly.
And how responsible they are.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Yeah. Guys, we have Nolan Hudson with us today. Nolan's a member here at Legacy Athletics, excuse me, and he's also a local business owner. One of my favorite things to do is interview our local business owners around here. And when I say local, that makes it kind of sound a little small. He's not really small. We're up. You're up to what, 3 locations now?
Opening up our 3rd. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yep.
Yeah. When is the opening date for that 3rd one?
Last October. So now we're looking at this October.
Okay, all right.
Who knows?
2 months to go.
Yeah. We can think of excuses all day as why we're not open. We can blame COVID, supply chain, which is what I do. I blame everyone else but us. But it's just a long process of building a new location. It's our 2 locations now are like 2,000 square feet and 3,000 square feet. The new one's 15,000 square feet, and we're doing most of the construction ourselves. So. It just takes a long time, but we'll be open in October, hopefully.
Yeah. Ish.
Yeah, ish. Yeah. We'll be ready. I don't know how open we'll be, but at some point we have to open up.
So I want to go back here. So who is Nolan Hudson? Tell us kind of where you're from, how you grew up.
Yeah.
Dive on in.
That's a question I ask myself all the time too, because I don't even
Still
really
trying
know.
to figure it out?
Yeah, I don't really know where I am or who I am yet. But no, I grew up in Carmel. I mean, there's not really like that crazy, like, you know, had a bad life and turned it around and did all that. Like, you know, I grew up in a fortunate family, fortunate life. Mm-hmm. My dad was a businessman. My mom got into real estate once we all got out of school.
Okay.
And then after the divorce, my mom ended up marrying a guy that started Fountain Square Brewery. And so, you know, got into the whole beer game, liquor game right as I turned 21.
Okay.
And then my mom wanted to do something a little different, so she opened up a distillery. And a couple years later, I started working for the distillery right away. I worked for the brewery a little bit doing sales.
Yeah.
And I knew that's something I wanted to do. I knew I could never work for anyone else. Right out of college, I got a job doing logistics, and people are stupid. All my bosses were dumb. I just knew that I could run a company better, even though I couldn't. But, you know.
And they're getting paid big bucks to just tell you what to do.
Yeah. My ego told me I could run it better than them.
Yeah.
So I took that ego and I ran with it, took over the company, the distillery. Mm-hmm. We bought it 7 years ago. And we haven't looked back. We bought it when we were doing just, you know, very, very minimal numbers. Mm-hmm. We turned that into a 3-location place, doing great. I've got over 20 employees, which is stressful. Yeah. I can't even take care of myself and my kid and wife, but I got to take care of 20 other people. But yeah, we started it and hit the ground running, and now it's a successful company. Yeah. And it's kind of what I want to do. I like alcohol. Mm-hmm. I like people. I like talking to people. And like I said, I can't work for anyone else. So this just blends everything I enjoy into one. And I work with one of my best friends. He's my business partner. I've known him since the day I was born. So we work really, really well together. We're not afraid to tell, like, hey, man, you're doing this wrong, or like step your game up. Mm-hmm. We're very open to each other. So we don't have to tiptoe and get around everything.
Did you guys play hockey together too?
So he was actually my brother's best friends growing up. My brothers are 5 years older than me. Okay. And they played hockey together, and they moved out to Colorado together to go to school. But everyone knows what you do in Colorado instead of go to school.
Get high.
Yep. So they did that. I think they went to school for ski and snowboard management.
That sounds like such a pothead thing to do.
Oh, 100%. 100%. There was I don't think any of my brothers got their degree. I think they just
had fun.
Yeah. Which can't blame them. They're all successful. They're all doing their own thing.
There you go. And Colorado's a beautiful place to do it. So
yeah. So we convinced him. So they went out to school to Colorado. We convinced him to move back and open up this with us because he was learning how to distill from other distilleries out there. Okay. And then once we found that out, we moved him home. And that was 9 years ago. Okay. And I've known him forever, so he's always like an older brother. Yeah. But now we talk on the phone every day, all day. We're texting all the time. We're just have a really strong relationship. And he was in my wedding. He turned into just one of my best friends.
Yeah. Did he get to spend time out with Tin Cup, or was Tin Cup after you guys?
No, he didn't work with Tin Cup. Okay. He worked with Breckenridge Distillery and a little distillery called Peach Street Distillery. Okay. Which I say little, but they're way bigger than us.
Really?
I think they're in every state.
Have to keep an eye out for their stuff.
He just learned through them how to do everything. His brother's actually one of the distillers at Breckenridge right now.
Oh, cool.
So they turned that into kind of a family affair as well.
Yeah, yeah. So going back to starting to work for Fountain Square Brewery, when your mom got remarried, did you have a pretty good relationship with your stepdad then?
Yeah.
Going into that?
And I still do. He's an awesome guy. It's it's one of those where there's a divorce, so there's always that like sense of resentment. Sure. And, but you just kind of have to look past that. Just like, this guy had no say in anything. Like he just treat my mom well. That's all I care about. Mm-hmm. And he did. And super nice guy. He had he's a scientist. Had a great vision for the brewery.
Really, he was a scientist first?
Yeah, that's cool. Microbiologist for Lilly.
So, oh, so he started the brewery then as kind of a side business? Or?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then he left Lilly to go full-time brewery, full-time distillery, full-time restaurant. Mm-hmm. He helped teach Brad a lot. He helped teach me a lot. Yeah. But that's one of those dudes where, like, anything my car breaks down, I'm like, he's a scientist. He doesn't really know how to fix a car.
Sure.
Send it to him. 5 minutes later, he's like, "Oh yeah, man, I fixed your car." Like the dude just knows everything about everything. He's a genius.
That's cool.
It's insane.
Yeah.
They love pickleball now, so he took their weed eater apart and made a pickleball launcher for them to practice out in their backyard. Like he just, they're retired now, so they're having a blast.
That's awesome.
He's a cool guy, really smart.
Yeah.
So he helped teach me everything I know about distilling as well as Brad.
That's cool.
Yeah, really cool guy.
Yeah.
Never had any ill feelings.
Is Fountain Square Brewery still around then, or?
Yeah, he sold it probably 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
So he sold it to some company, and then the brewer just bought it for about a year ago. So it's
cool. Okay.
changed ownership 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. But it's still around then.
Yep,
Wait, is it still under the same name too, or?
Yeah, still Fountain Square Brewery.
Cool.
Yep.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So, let's see. Going back to the distillery now, like, well, I guess actually going back a little bit further than that, what, like when you first got into the brewery, what had you interested in that business? Especially going to work for somebody else at the time.
Being 21 and being like, dude, I can sell beer for a living? Like, I can make money doing this? Like, yeah, just what's my job? All right, yeah, you're going to go to a bar, have a few drinks, and talk to the bar manager, get some free food while you're at it.
Sure.
Like, the name behind, like, working for a brewery is something that, like, people, you kind of want to do. It's a fun sounding job. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But just, you're right out of college and you're like, I can either go back into logistics or I can go sell beer for a brewery. Probably make more money in logistics, but I'm not going to hate myself.
Yeah. Maybe short term, right?
Yeah.
Because long term, I mean, if a business becomes successful, I mean, what could this be in 20 years, 30 years?
Oh, for sure.
And you got started so young. I think that's what's so cool is so many people of, like, your stepdad's generation, for example, they were told, go to school, go get a corporate job and be secure and do 9 to 5 and do what you're told, right?
Yeah, go spend all your money in college and waste it.
And then, then they started realizing, like, I'm not happy doing this shit. And then they start a side hustle. Well, we get to shortchange that side hustle and get to spend 20 years in what should have been a side hustle.
Yeah,
before they would have even exited. And I think that's what's so cool is, like, going into this now and, like, how much further ahead could my kids be now that I learned this shit at 28 is when I started the insurance business.
Yeah.
And, what if they could get into it at 21, 22 and then, maybe start something of their own along with it.
Oh, absolutely.
Who knows, but.
Yeah, and I got lucky that, like, my entry into the brewing and distilling world was easy. Like, I didn't have to apply for a job. It's like my stepdad was like, hey, here's the job. Do you want it? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll do part-time sales, learn about beer. Then my mom started a distillery, and then, like, I took over that. So everyone always asks me, like, how did you get into this industry?
Yeah.
And it fell into my lap. Like, honestly, like, that's really what happened. I got super lucky that it fell into my lap. But at the same time, I could have taken that and been like, all right, I have a job and I'm comfortable with my job. Like, I'm making enough money to live. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the growth in the distillery that I wanted to see. I'm like, we can spend this much money and do this. And my family didn't see it the same way. So I was not content with where I was. So I was like, hey, let me buy this distillery off of you and let me grow it the way I want. So there's that sense of, like, yeah, I got lucky that it was kind of not handed to me, but kind of handed to me. But I took that and I ran with it, and I worked my ass off for the last 9 years to get it to the point where it is today.
Yeah. Well, they gave you the opportunity, right? Like, the opportunity was placed in front of you. You took it, but it's not like they just handed it to you. You still had to buy the business, right? Like,
I was living in Dallas at the time, so I had beautiful weather, and I loved living in Texas. But my mom was like, "Hey, we're gonna start a distillery," and I was like, "Cool, first plane home, like, quit my job and move back to Indy."
And that's somehow Indiana draws us all back in.
This I don't get
freaking state.
I don't get it.
I don't either.
But
I want to leave so bad, but then, like,
where are you gonna go?
Right?
You're gonna be miserable everywhere you are. So
and it's funny because, like, Indiana has such a. I mean, it's the Midwest, right? But it's boring. But if you dive into it, I'm trying to like force myself to appreciate where we are more, be present in the moment. It's like maybe one day I'd have a place in Tennessee or Montana or something like that. But it's so cool. What I was telling thinking through the other day is like, what, Indiana is. It's not behind the times, but it's just now kind of taking off, right? It's like we're actually in a really good spot at our age with our businesses. what could happen, whereas like other states like Chicago, right? Chicago took off 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Where you go there, you're not necessarily starting anything new.
And you're paying way, way more money than you should.
Exactly.
Yep.
Here, it's like, okay, Indiana started taking off 10 years ago, but it's now getting to the point where it's like all the little surrounding towns are, blowing up. And it's like, okay, cool. We've got people coming here now. There's a lot of opportunity here.
Yeah, it's amazing the growth I've seen. So I grew up in Carmel, and growing up in Carmel, you're bred to hate Westfield. Like, one day Carmel's going to buy Westfield, and Westfield's not going to exist anymore. My thought growing up as a kid is like,
right,
I'm going to pay attention to Westfield, but eventually, anything from 146 to 38 is all going to be Carmel. Like, we're just going to buy it all.
Yeah.
And then Westfield just blew up, and it, like, seeing a city grow up the way that this city's grown up so fast is insane.
Well, and Westfield can expand up to Sheridan.
Yeah.
Too. Like, Sheridan, I think, would be the only town that would go, like, it's big enough to say stop. We're going to now grow as Sheridan.
And there's still so much land to the west that they haven't even touched yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Westfield's just blowing up so fast, and it's so cool to see it. And I live in Westfield now. We're building a new house in Westfield. Like, I don't see myself leaving Westfield anytime soon because that, like, small town vibe that Westfield had when I grew up in Carmel is still kind of here, but we're getting everything that we had in Carmel. So eventually it's going to get to the point where it is like Carmel,
a little less bougie. I don't think Westfield will ever be as bougie as.
We'll see. I don't know.
I guess you're right.
I don't know.
You gotta keep an arts district out of here.
Yeah, that won't last.
Yeah, right.
But just seeing that growth, seeing what Westfield's turned into, it's awesome, and I'm glad that I've been a part of it. When I opened up my first distillery in Westfield, people were like, why Westfield? Like, where at in Westfield? I'm like, right in the heart of downtown. Like, why not Carmel? I'm like, well, Carmel's expensive, and it's kind of has everything it already needs.
Right.
Westfield doesn't really have this yet. So we opened up, and within my first day, we had a line out the door from the bar.
Really?
It was nuts.
Was Westfield the first location?
Indianapolis was our first location.
Okay,
Fountain
gotcha.
Square.
Yeah.
Yeah, Westfield was my first expansion.
Gotcha.
And then I saw the numbers of Westfield, and I was like, we got to open up more of these, man. Like, we got to have more bars.
Yeah. So how long ago now did you buy the business?
It was 7 years ago in April.
Okay. And then how old were you at that point?
26, 20. I was 25 when I bought it.
Wow. Okay, it's pretty young.
Yeah. So at one point, I was the youngest distillery owner in the country.
That's pretty cool.
So I'm sure someone's passed me now.
Probably.
I'm old.
There's probably some 21-year-old, that is way smarter than we'll ever be.
Yeah.
That's funny. So you were 25, and were you married yet or no?
No, I got married when I was 30.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
And then just had your first child.
Yep, just had my first baby. Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's so cool. So you're just really getting into the thick of it, right?
Yeah.
But like, what are your plans to kind of, because I know family's important to you, what are your plans to balance everything? Because you've got more responsibility now from the distillery side, but also more responsibility now from the family side.
Yeah, and it's tough. That balancing act it's really tough, especially when, like, I don't have my weekends are Mondays. Like, and I'm still working on Monday. That's just like me working from home.
Yeah.
Because my big days are Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays. So I really don't have that weekend. I don't have that normal life that everyone else has. But what I do have is just an incredible staff that I trust with my business. I've worked in the restaurant industry for the last 14, so 19 years.
Really?
I worked in the restaurant industry. And the restaurant industry has some of the most turnover that you'll ever see. You know, like, especially in sales, you're like, oh, I'm talking to a bar manager on Monday. I go in on Friday. Oh, new bar manager.
Right.
Like, you can never build a good relationship because there's new bar managers, new staff.
Yeah.
I have had the same core 3 employees at my Westfield location from the day that we opened.
Oh, that's so cool.
Which is pretty much unheard of.
Yeah.
But just having that staff, having a good staff that you trust, that takes away so much pressure. And they all feel like they have like a sense of ownership in the company because, I make money, they make money.
Right.
Plus I give them the freedom to do what they really need to do to run this company when I'm not there.
Yeah.
They know I'll back them if someone comes in and you're just like, like the amount of people in Westfield that get pissed off if you ID them is ridiculous. Like getting calls from people mad that we carded them when they're 39 years old and like all this. So, and they get mad and they yell at my bartenders, and I'm like, and they know that they can kind of assert themselves and be like, listen, like, yeah, I don't care if you yell at me, give me a bad Yelp review, whatever. Those are the Yelp reviews I don't care about. If it's like a very obvious, that person is just dumb Yelp review, I don't care about that at all.
Right.
Someone's going to read that and be like, yeah, that person was just drunk or whatever. Yeah. But so my staff has a sense of ownership. They have a sense of control. They know what to do. It's pretty hands off at that location. Yeah. And that helps my work-life balance out immensely. But with the third location, we'll kind of see, obviously it changes with the times, but just giving my staff the tools to be successful has really helped with that work-life balance. Yeah. So it's been a very easy transition. As much as I hate to say it, because I want to feel more needed in my own company.
Well, but that means you've done something right.
Yeah, they kill it.
Yeah, as a business owner, the best, when you realize you've reached a point of success that you're not needed in your business. Yeah. That means you've got the right people in place. You know, like I'm very blessed here at the gym, as well as in the insurance business. You know, like I do my piece of the conversations, the people, you know, the people skills, stuff like that. Yep. But my team members there crush it to the point where like I don't have to do some of the I don't have to do any service work really. Yeah. You know, on the gym side, you know, we've got 2 amazing coaches that are full time that crush it there. I mean, this is their career. You know, our general manager absolutely crushed it. Like I was able to take a vacation. Well, it wasn't really a vacation. It was a wedding that we had to go to, but we took an extra week at my in-laws' timeshare down there, and we were able to go to Florida for 2 weeks. And that was 6 months after I had bought the business. Actually, that would have been in July. No, we bought the business in February. So 5 months after. Yeah. And like, other than a few emails here and there and a few things to clean up there, it was like, didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Caitlin was on it.
Pretty much unheard of.
Yeah, so, it was incredible. So, yeah, that's when you know, like, okay, all right. So then what, you know, at that point, okay, well, what is my role? keep things growing, right? Keep things growing, keep things getting better. But no, that's a good point to get to. That also allows you to focus on your family and things like that. So so you've got a really cool T-shirt here, and this is the new name. Yeah, I guess I said when I introed you that you're the owner of 1205 Distillery.
I didn't even pay attention to that.
Yeah,
but I still say that a lot.
I guess you're the owner of Four Finger Distillery.
Four Finger, yeah.
So tell us the story behind the name.
Yeah, so my business partner Brad, when we were building our first location in Fountain Square, so it was nine years ago. 9 years ago, September 29th. He was making a small cut of wood on a miter saw, a telescoping miter saw. So it goes back and forth. The wood shot back. His hand shot back with it. Cut every bone and tendon in the back of his hand twice.
Gosh.
And lost his pinky.
That's it?
Yeah.
It hit the entire back of the hand, but he only lost his pinky.
He lost his pinky. Then we found his ring finger knuckle on the ground the next day. So he really can't bend his ring finger, but he has it. He doesn't have a pinky.
Oh my gosh.
And we had a Four Finger rye whiskey, which was one of our most popular selling products. And then when we bought the company, like I said, 7 years ago, we met with a marketing company. We're like, hey, we like the name 1205, but like we didn't think of it. Yeah. My mom thought of it, and it's one of those names where if you don't know the story behind 1205, then it doesn't really mean much to you. And 1205 is the date Prohibition was repealed, December 5th, 1933.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now it makes sense, but you don't know it. You forget the numbers.
Yeah.
So the amount
that is good though. That just goes to explain though, like how many people need to learn history.
Yeah, right.
You know that's pretty cool.
Important history.
Yeah. So it was December 5th of
1933.
33. That's when Prohibition was repealed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So we had a restaurant called Repeal connected to us at 1205.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. And it's a cool name, but if you don't remember the name, then like if you don't remember the reasoning, then you're not going to remember the numbers. Right. So the amount of people that would go into a liquor store and be like, hey, I want that 1505 rhubarb liqueur. Like, even
what?
Like, I have employees that their parents will text and be like, hey, are you at 1210 today? And like no one remembers the numbers. And I talked to the marketing company about it, and they're like, no, as long as people remember, like, oh, what's that number distillery? Like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
And now looking back at that was the dumbest thing I ever heard. Like,
Right.
the fact that I heard that and I was like, you know what? I'm paying you a bunch of money.
Right.
That was a smart response.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I should have been like, no, we're changing the name.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to get a new marketing company.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did.
Good.
But yeah, so the name Four Finger Distillery, we've been working towards it for the last like 2 to 3 years of slowly changing the name. We rebranded our labels to make them more Four Finger forward.
Okay.
We changed all of our whiskeys to Four Finger series. So over the last like 3 years, we slowly added new changes every year.
Yeah.
To make that name more noticeable, so that when we finally did change the name, it wouldn't be such a big jump.
Yeah.
Because there's so many like negative connotations that can come with a name change. Like,
right.
Oh, they're failing. Like, they have to change their name and do something different. No, we were doing fine, but we just wanted a cool name.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it goes to your story, right? It's not your mom's story anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that makes sense. You know what you need to do? You need to get like brass knuckles. There are like 4 of them that reach, that like curls around the glass bottle, you know?
That'd be awesome, yeah. Brass knuckles at a bar, though. I don't
know. Good point. Yeah, that may end up poorly, especially. Yeah. Well, who knows in Whitestown? Whitestown's changed a lot since over the years, just in general.
Yeah,
but
whole area.
Yeah, it's booming over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're right on this downtown square of Lebanon, and the fact that like we got the building for the price we got it, and everything that's opening up around us, like Eli Lilly's opening up a $2 billion tech center.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's an indoor Grand Park going in, like right down the street from us.
So it's an extension of Grand Park?
It's a different company.
Oh, okay.
But it's similar. It's like I think it's like tennis, basketball, pickleball, soccer, like but all indoors.
Yeah.
So it'll be year round. But yeah, I mean Lebanon's just blowing up, and we like to get into places that we think are going to be popular. And like we got into Westfield before Westfield really boomed.
Yeah.
We're getting into Lebanon hopefully before Lebanon really booms. But even then, like we feel like we're almost late to Lebanon because in the year that it's taken us to do this construction, man, there's just restaurants, bars, apartment complexes, everything opening up. And it's incredible. The mayor's awesome there. He's I think he's younger than me.
Oh, really?
And he's just looking to expand that area and make it a cool, like they throw a beer fest on the square every year.
Oh, that's cool.
They shut down the square every Friday for live music. Like it's just a really cool up and coming area.
Yeah. You know what? So my wife sent me a house the other day that had 5 acres because we'd love to have 5 acres at some point. And she sends me the house. I'm like, oh, this is actually a sweet house. I'm like, why is this priced so well? It's like $450 or something like that is all they wanted. And so I went to the map because I'm like, last time I looked at a house that was really well priced, something was wrong.
Yeah.
So, and that one was across the street from like some manufacturing, facility or something like that. Well, anyways, I hit the map and I zoom out on the map and it's like massive warehouse, massive warehouse, massive warehouse, massive warehouse, and then like little 5 acre plot. Yep. I was like, that's why we're not doing that.
Yeah. Was that like Lebanon, Whitestown area?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was what was it? I think it was Whitestown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, that whole area is just turning into massive.
They're all
warehouses.
Amazon warehouses. Yeah. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for the economy. Yep. It's horrible for the land. I wish we would find a better way to do these things. I mean, but again, it's good for the economy, and it's just, you
got to talk to Kyle. He just bought the 3.5 acres next to him, so now he's up to 6.5 acres.
Dude, don't get me started. Yeah. Michigan. If it weren't for the politics up there, I would highly, highly consider moving to the upper area of Michigan. Not necessarily the Upper Peninsula, but like, Empire region area. But it's just,
You're always going to find a reason not to move somewhere.
I think it'd be cool like to have a lake house or something up there. The other thing I run into is my wife hates winter. So it's like the difference is though, in Michigan. Like in Indiana, there's just no winter lifestyle, right? Like if you go to Montana, you snowboard, you ski, you snowmobile, you hunt.
Exactly.
Here we hunt, but it's not the same as being in the mountains, or even Michigan just has beautiful hills, or ice fishing, or
you can enjoy the winter. Here,
exactly.
You survive through the winter. You're dealing with the salt on the roads and you get snow for 2 days and then it melts, and you get snow for 2 days and it melts, and you're just in mud season 90% of the winter.
It's just that's the only thing. I feel like if we had a better winter lifestyle here, but it's kind of hard when you're flat and landlocked.
Yeah.
You can go to, what's that one place? Not Paoli Peak. Well, maybe it is Paoli.
There's Paoli and Perfect North.
That's right. Yeah, you can go to those places. I mean, for me, I've never snowboarded before.
Ride a snow lift or ski lift for 12 minutes, ski for 30 seconds.
Exactly. If you're good. If you're like me and you're falling on your face every 10 seconds, then you'll take a little while to get down there. But no, that's a cool story about the brand and growing it that way. So, yeah. So what are your guys' future plans? Is it just to keep expanding, or?
I don't know. I mean, my plans, they change all the time. When we had our Indianapolis location, we were content with having just one location and, just making enough for the both of us. We were both bartending on Fridays and Saturdays, rotating it, and we were happy with that.
Do you still bartend at all?
No.
Really?
No, not anymore. Okay. If they need me, they know they can call me, or if someone's not working, I'll go in and bartend. But man, no. Are
your employees just like, get out, we got it?
Oh, well, they tell me, they're like, no, you're doing great. But I always said, like, when I get to the point where I'm just a hindrance behind the bar, then I'm just leaving. Like, they make new drinks all the time. They move stuff around, which is perfect. It's what I want them to do to make themselves comfortable. And someone will ask for a drink, and I'm like, yeah. And I just turn around for like 30 seconds, just like trying to find new stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, you guys have this under control. Like, there's a reason I don't bartend. Like, I'll try it. I'll try to remember the drinks.
Right.
But I always told them, like, the second I'm not, like, beneficial behind the bar, I'm out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've been doing recently. But yeah, we were content with one location. We had a bar that was like 200 square feet. And on busy nights, really, really busy nights, we'd fit 7,500 people in there and just fill that place out. And it was awesome. And then one day I looked at our sales numbers and I was like, man, we need another tasting room. Like, we're making so much money with cocktails.
Yeah.
So that's when I opened up Westfield, and then we expanded that one twice. And then I was like, we have no other reason to move. Like, we're doing well. And then we're like, well, man, we should buy a building.
Yeah.
And then, because we're just paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent.
Yeah.
Let's own a building and actually get some equity out of it. So then we bought a building, and we're opening up a new place there.
Yeah.
So I would like to say, well, I guess I don't know if I would like to say it, but we're done expanding.
Okay.
But I know that's not the case. I actually just had a phone call today about possibly opening up a new one somewhere. Like, I just can't stop. My mind's always racing. I'm like, well, if we can do this, and let's do this and make money doing this way. Like, I'm always trying to think of new ways to expand new revenue streams.
Yeah.
So right now we're content, unless, a couple phone calls go a different way, then, I can open up a new location somewhere. But the next biggest step, if we're not opening up new locations, is franchising out, opening up franchises. Because I've got people in Florida, North Carolina that want to open up Four Finger Distilleries in their place. So,
do you think that could tarnish the brand, though?
That's my fear.
Yeah.
It would be a lot of traveling back and forth to these places and making sure that they're using, juices that we approved and making the cocktails that we want. So it's scary because you're giving, like, this job's my baby. Like, we started this from nothing. So we're giving our name to someone else, hoping that they are as attached to it as we are.
Have the same values and everything.
So, like, if I went there as a secret shopper and I'm like, man, this bartender's, being mean, not making the right drinks, like, it could really hurt your brand.
Yeah.
I've seen some franchises that it has. So,
Do you see this being, because like all businesses are built to sell, right? Do you see this being something that eventually you would sell or try to pass down as a legacy business? And obviously we're talking 20, 30, 40, 50 years in the future, right? Not tomorrow, but it's always an interesting question I have for business owners because, that is an important thought, right?
I mean, if the price is right.
Everything's for sale.
Yeah, you offer me enough money. If I'm not selling this business unless I know for a fact the amount of money that I would get would never make me work again. Yeah. Then I'm good.
Yeah.
And, have a little stockpile for my kids.
Because you did what you said, like
100%.
You could?
100%.
Okay. So you're like, I don't have any ego in this. If I can be so rich that I can retire, then done.
Oh, yeah. But I wouldn't retire.
Right.
I would, my goal, so Brad and I, we've talked about it.
Okay.
We sell this company, $20 million, and then we don't sign, as long as we don't have to sign a non-compete.
Yeah.
Then we're good.
Okay. There you go.
Because I would want to open up a distillery that's not out to make money. Because, like, right now, you're out there to make money. That's all you're trying to do is make money and survive. I would like enough money that we can open up like a small distillery and tasting room.
Okay.
And just do some weird stuff, just like spirits that no one's ever heard of.
And just have fun.
Yeah, just screw it. You know, we lose, as long as we break even or lose a couple hundred, not $100,000, lose a couple $1,000s, and we're good.
Yeah.
But just, you know, try spirits. We've tried it like with quinoa, you know, just do some really.
Quinoa?
Yeah.
How is that?
It's hard to work with.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to work with.
Was it like gluten-free technically, or?
So technically all spirits are gluten-free.
I guess you're right. That's why I've switched over to whiskey and tequila versus you know, although it was funny, I was when we were in 1205 doing our little you know, legacy night that would have been, geez, that was last year at this point.
That was a little bit ago.
Yeah. I went up to him like, hey, can I get a, you know, tequila on the rocks or something like that? And she's like, yeah, we don't do tequila here.
Can't make it in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's got to be made in Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, so America's spirit is bourbon.
Yeah.
Cognac is France, you know, Scotch, Scotland. So all these big countries, they have their own spirits that they can make. But yeah, we can't make tequila. We can make it, but we can't call it tequila.
Well, man, what would you call it then?
An agave spirit.
Okay, gotcha.
But, you know, if you're going up, you're like, hey, guys, we're going to have a margarita night. We're going to go to the liquor store, pick me up some tequila. You see all these tequila brands on the shelf, and then you see an agave spirit.
Yeah,
you're grabbing tequila 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So it's not even worth it.
Right. So what all do you guys make currently? Because everything that can be distilled there, right?
Yeah, so we make vodka, gin, rhubarb liqueur, coffee liqueur, rum, bourbon, blended bourbon, peated bourbon, rye whiskey, wheat whiskey, single malt, absinthe. And then
you are from Carmel when you make absinthe.
Yeah. We're the first legal absinthe in Indianapolis.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It was illegal until I want to say 2013.
Yeah, absinthe can get you fucked up.
Yep. Yeah, it's strong. 120
do you guys use wormwood?
We do.
That? Okay.
So we have to send in our batches to the government, and they test it to make sure that I think it's called I can't remember what it's called, but there's a chemical in wormwood.
Okay.
And that's the chemical that makes you hallucinate and also can kill you.
Oh, it can kill you, really? So it's not just alcohol poisoning. The wormwood itself can.
I mean, you'd have to drink enough to kill an entire to get an army drunk just for you to like feel the effects of the chemical.
Yeah.
But we have to send it to them, and they have to make sure that our parts per million are low enough that we can ship it out.
Yeah.
So they monitor it. But yeah, we make it the traditional way, wormwood. We don't add food coloring. That's what makes it green.
Yeah.
But we soak it in lavender, so that adds a little bit of like a yellow green hue to it.
Okay.
So like what it's called glouching is where you pour in cold liquid into absinthe, and absinthe is so oily that it like clouds up and almost changes colors. So when you louch it, ours kind of turns a little greenish purple. So you can change the color of it based on the not the chemicals, but the herbs you use in that process of distilling it.
Interesting. Yeah. So what's your favorite out of all the ones you make? What's your favorite?
I love our rye whiskey.
Okay.
I just found out that I'm sensitive to rye, so I'm not drinking rye anymore. Yeah, I took one of those food sensitivity tests, and rye was up there. Our bourbon or our peated bourbon. So peat is what gives Scotch its smoky flavor.
Okay.
So peat is a moss, and you smoke that moss to where the smoke goes up and adds flavor to the barley.
Interesting.
And so that's how you get like a peated barley and a smoky Scotch.
So do you guys do that process yourself then?
We don't, but we have a company that does it custom for us, because we actually we like to keep everything local, as Indiana as possible. And we found peated, when we were going to do peated, we want to keep it at least in the United States, because most peat comes from the UK. But we actually found a peat bog in Fort Wayne. So they ship us peat to our grain supplier, and he smokes the barley for us.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, because I mean, don't a lot of places use like a smoked flavoring?
Yeah, you can use smoked flavoring. There's a lot of extracts you can use. There's smoky malt, where they just like smoke the malt.
Okay.
But
you guys do it the right way
with the peat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that when it comes to the rest of your what are they, spirits? Yeah, not liqueurs. Do you guys stay pretty natural as far as your process?
Yeah.
So like keeping the flavors like real flavors, not just extracts and stuff.
We have 0 extracts in any of our spirits or any of our flavors. So even our rhubarb liqueur, it's fresh rhubarb. We use it 3 different ways. So there's no colors, flavors, ingredients, sweeteners, or anything like that.
Yeah.
you can add extracts and stuff, but when you do, then it's more stuff you have to put on a label.
Sure.
More potential for hangovers, caramel coloring, and all that. So we don't touch any of that.
Good.
Our ingredients that go into it are grain and water. Sometimes we'll use liquid enzymes to help break it down more.
Okay.
But that's it.
That's awesome.
Nothing after the distillation process. Nothing's added to it.
Yeah. See, if I'm going to poison myself, I want to do it as clean as I can,
do
right?
it as healthy as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to poison myself with the alcohol, then not the other shit that goes into it.
For sure.
That's cool. Yeah, your guys' rye whiskey is, I already said this to you, but we weren't recording yet, but has such a unique flavor. And you talked about this at the beginning. Yeah. So we were recording at that point. Yeah. But yeah, such a unique flavor to it. It does not taste like any other rye.
No.
I haven't tried your peat whiskey yet, though.
It's good.
And then you had what were the other two again? You have your bourbon, and then
we have a straight bourbon, so a single barrel straight bourbon, and then a blended bourbon, which is 3 different bourbons blended together.
Okay.
And they're all Indiana bourbons. It's a mix of our bourbon, and then we go through MGP in Lawrenceburg.
Okay.
And that's kind of our cocktail bourbon.
Okay.
So we figured out pretty quickly that our Westfield tasting room was selling more bourbon than we could make out of cocktails. So we had to come up with a second batch of bourbon that was a blend of ours and MGP.
Oh,
and
cool.
We're very open about all of our recipes, all of our spirits. I'm good with companies using MGP and using contract distilleries. But if you're going to do it, tell everyone. Don't put it on there and act like it's yours.
Right.
Just,
like with the brands we were talking about at the beginning. Yeah.
Just be open about it. Just be open about it.
Hey, this is distilled in Utah. Oh, wait. No, it's not.
Yep. Yeah,
is there a reason that Lawrenceburg is such a hotspot for that, or MGP?
Just the size.
Okay.
So it used to be a Seagram's factory, so they were able to make a bunch. Yeah. Not only were they able to make a bunch, but they were able to make a bunch very, very well. If you're a chemical engineer and you want to get into the distilling game, you're going to go to that company. Yeah. They're going to teach you how to do it, and you're going to do it really, really well, and it's going to be perfect every time. Their consistency is probably what sets them apart.
Yeah.
And then just the mass quantities they make. They spill more probably every hour than I will make in an entire year. It's
that is such
insane.
A waste.
Yeah. But to them, it's just like, screw it,
Yeah.
40 gallons of 120 proof bourbon down the drain, whatever.
Oh, well.
We'll make that in a second.
Tax deduction, right?
Yeah, I'd be crying.
So do you guys distill at every location then?
No, we just distill at our Indianapolis location right now.
Oh, okay.
And we have a little 150-gallon still. So we do about a barrel and a half a week is all we can produce. But that's just whiskey. We can make vodka, gin, and rhubarb quicker than that.
Okay.
And then when our Lebanon location opens, we have a 750-gallon still that we bought it about a year ago, but it's just chilling in Baltimore right now. We just have to pick it up. That'll be doing about a barrel and a half a day.
Okay.
So we'll be making a bunch more booze. Our booze will get older.
Yeah.
We'll probably turn Lebanon into whiskey, and then downtown into vodka and gin and rhubarb and stuff.
Okay.
So we'll have
kind of makes sense for the location.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. All the people down there just want to get fucked up, right?
Yeah. And our grain supplier is in Lebanon, so
that's perfect.
Sugar Creek Malt, local guy out of Lebanon, makes some awesome stuff.
Really?
He's one of the few malters in the Midwest.
Oh, cool. So does that? I mean, that's got to be good for cost then, right? Keeps costs down.
Yeah, costs are down, and also just being able to talk to him, be like, hey, Caleb, we want a peated bourbon, we want it super smoky, do this and make it this way. We want our corn milled this way. We can tell him what we want and he'll do it. He started off pretty small, but I think now you probably can't even order through him anymore if you're not with his account, because he's just growing so fast.
That's so cool. Man, these little gems in Indiana, I'll tell you.
Yeah, people are smart, man.
There's a lot here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smart people here, and there's a lot here that you just don't know about, you know. So that's interesting. So, let's see. With the Lebanon location, 15,000 square feet, 750
gallon. Yeah. Still. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And you guys are distributing. I mean, is it all around the state, or is it just local? Right?
Yeah, we're all over Indiana.
Okay, because I've seen, was 1205, now Four Finger in the liquor stores down the street.
We touch Lawrenceburg all the way to Valpo. Like we're we cover every inch of the state.
Yeah.
We were in Illinois, and then COVID hit, and our distributor in Illinois went out of business. So we haven't really touched that recently. But at one point, Illinois was selling more bourbon Chicago was selling more bourbon than all of Indiana for us.
Really?
And again, we were like worried, hey, we're going to run out of booze. So what do we do? So we haven't expanded into different states yet.
Okay.
Just because the worst thing you want to do is run out of alcohol in your own home state.
Yeah.
So we're just making sure that we can control Indiana, and then we'll slowly start expanding out. But
would you guys ever need to go to like having a manufacturing facility too, or are you always planning on having your distilleries? When I say manufacturing, I guess distillery, I should say. But or do you plan on having your stills in all of the?
I would
the locations.
It's tough to tell. I would like to have everything where people can see it and like see what we do and make it, or watch us make it all. But if we ever get to that point where we have a manufacturing location, I sold years ago. I'm out in Florida sitting on one of my houses. We get to that point.
That's funny.
And I'm retired.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'd be cool to do that. Yeah. But I just see so much potential. And if I'm going to buy a building and expand somewhere, why not put up a wall and a glass wall and make it so I have a tasting room or a cocktail lounge in front of it? Like, exactly. I'm not just going to have a place where I go and we make it and no one is allowed in there and it's like secretive. I want people to see it. I want to make money off of it. Like I want to make as much money as possible off that location. Right. So
profit everywhere you can.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when there was another location, not your location, but another distillery that opened up here in Westfield. Did that affect you guys at all, or do you guys have such a loyal following of customers?
If anything, it helped us out.
Really.
We know all the distilleries in Indiana. Like we partner with them. We work with them really well. There's no bad blood between us in any place.
That's awesome.
We all look at this as we're trying to build an industry. If we can get as big as craft brewing is in Indiana, if we can get craft distilling up to that level, then we're all doing really well, and we're all going to make a lot of money.
Well, because people come here and then they'll like hop around to different distilleries.
Exactly.
There was something when I was out in Colorado. We were in the Springs, and it was so cool. We went to a brewery, and my friend loves doing this one. I don't drink beer anymore, but which is why I love whiskey so much, right? So we went to this brewery though that was owned by a retired SEAL guy, but they had this little postcard there that had like their brewery trail, and it had all the local breweries. And it was funny when we were sitting in that brewery, we looked over there and we're like, who are these dudes? And then we started noticing that all of them had shirts on of the different breweries. So all of these owners are just chilling there, drinking beers together, hanging out and talking business. And it was just cool to see how it's very much a abundance mentality, and so it's the same way with distilleries in this location.
Yeah, I mean you have a couple that are just like, we're gonna do our own thing. Screw you guys. We're this level. We don't need the help. We don't want the help. We don't want to partner. But then you have everyone else that's like, if we all work together, we can get. You walk into a liquor store now, and there's an entire row that says like Indiana beer on it. Yeah. And that's all because they all work together. They started a guild, and they talked to these liquor stores like, "Hey, we're going to put up a shelf here for Indiana beer." Distilleries, if we work together, we can do something like that, and we're all going to benefit of it. We're all going to make money. We can all split the cost of doing all these crazy marketing things. So it's. If we all work together, we can all make a lot more money and all do really well together. And, we're in Hamilton County. If we start a Hamilton County tour where you can go from brewery to distillery and hop around, which is already out there, then we're all going to benefit from it. There's no point in just being like, you come to my place and we're going to talk shit about the other place. Right. Like, what's that going to do? It's not going to do anyone any good.
Rising tide, right? Rising tide, right, raises all ships.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. No, that's a good way to do it. So, with your drinks, then, do you guys come up with seasonal drinks, or do you have your staples?
A mix of both.
Okay. Yes. Do you have like a mixologist that does it, or is it you or your partner?
We all do it. Okay. One of the things I always tell my bartenders and like people I hire, like I said, we've had the same staff from day one, except I've hired in more people. I can teach you how to make drinks. I can teach you how to bartend, but I can't teach you how to not be an asshole. So I hire people that are, realtors or are really good at speaking to people, and I can teach them how to make drinks. That's the easiest part. I can teach you how to make a few drinks, and then you take those recipes and you swap around the ingredients, and it's almost, cocktails are almost like 3 or 4 main recipes, and then you just change all the flavorings and make different cocktails out of that.
Yeah.
So you teach them how to do that, and then I'm like, all right, I'll buy your ingredients, just roll with it and make up some new cool cocktails. So we have our 6 staples.
Okay.
And then we have 8 seasonal recipes that change every 3 months.
Okay.
Except for winter, we do a Christmas menu in December.
Oh, cool.
A greatest of all time menu in January, and then February is a tiki month. We turn into a tiki bar and just do tiki cocktails. So those are the only times that it's like not a set.
Yeah.
Every 3 month change, but
that's fun.
Our fall menu comes out here soon. Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I still need to bring my wife up there. I've been over there, and it's a cool spot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Westfield spot. It's very. It's not what you would expect in Carmel and Westfield. That's what's cool about it.
Yeah. It's like we kind of say it's craft cocktails without the smug. Like you get really good drinks. We don't charge craft cocktail prices. We charge a little less than what a lot of people are charging, but we're an old refurbished garage. It's not the classiest place in the world, but we'll give you drinks that make you feel classy. And you can come in with a tank top. Like
exactly.
You come in with the tank top, listen to live music, you're gonna have a great time. A lot of these places that have the $16 craft cocktails, you walk in with a tank top, hey, get out.
Yeah.
We're there to give you good drinks and make you have a good time. We don't really care, what you wear.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like a little bit of a hole in the wall.
Yeah. For sure.
Which is that's like that's the best kind of bar.
That's what we do.
Yeah, that's the best kind of bar. And as long as they got good drinks, it makes it even better.
Yeah.
So
ours was a storage unit until we renovated it. So it was a storage unit. We put in bathrooms and opened up the garage door and turned it into a bar.
Perfect. That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, that's cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on today and sharing everything with us. Guys, go out there and go check them out. You can find them at the liquor store, or go out to one of the locations and have some fun.
Yeah, Fountain Square, Westfield, and Lebanon coming soon.
Boom. Where can people find out more about you guys and learn more about the brand?
Yeah, our website, fourfingerdistillery.com. I actually just started booking cocktail classes too, so if you want to learn how to make cocktails on Saturdays, go to our website.
What location is that at?
Just in Westfield right now.
Okay.
We'll expand to all the other ones, but
that's cool.
I'm testing it in Westfield to make sure that I don't screw it up completely before I sell a few hundred tickets and have to refund everybody for doing
I'm sure
it
you're
so
gonna I'm sure you're gonna do great on that.
I hope, We'll see.
Are you guys on Instagram and all that fun stuff too?
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok,
MySpace. Oh wait, that's not real anymore.
MySpace.
Yeah. Did you have a MySpace?
Oh, of course I had a MySpace.
Man, I feel like I tried to start one and then I wasn't smart enough for it, so I was just like, screw this. And then Facebook came out.
I was talking to my wife about it like yesterday, and I was like, man, the drama between having a top 8, because you used to have a top 8, like your top 8 friends. Oh, and you start talking to a girl, and if she's not in your top 8 within like 3 hours, then you're done.
Done for.
She's gonna beat you. Yeah. That was rough. So yeah, that top 8 drama was real. That was the most stress I've had since opening up a business.
Yeah, karma life, guys.
Yep.
Well, appreciate you coming on. One more question for you here.
Yep.
And what legacy do you want to leave?
Man,
loaded question.
I just want, so I it's one of those, like, I don't know if you watch The Office where Michael Scott says something like, do I need to be loved? No. Do I want to be loved? No. Like, I can't remember, but it ends with him like, but do I have to be loved? Yes. Like, that's kind of where I am. Like, I want to be the best boss that I possibly can for my employees. I want people to want to work for me. Mm-hmm. I want, even if someone quits, I want them to be like, you know what? I didn't quit because Nolan was an asshole. I quit because they were doing something wrong. Like, even then, but
sure.
I just want to kind of go out with everyone kind of liking me. Like, I, as bad as that sounds, it's like, I want everyone to know that, like, I put in everything I had into this business. Mm-hmm. I will, defend my employees to the teeth. I'll fight for them. I just kind of want everyone to know that, like, I just want to be the best boss. And if I'm going to do something, it's going to be for the benefit of my staff, and it might hurt the business. But I've had so many bad bosses that I just don't want to be that bad boss. I just kind of want, I just want to be like, a great boss that everyone wants to work for.
Yeah. Well, you're for the people, man. That's what matters.
I try.
Love it, dude. Well,
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on. Guys, go check him out and have fun drinking his spirits because they will give you some spirit.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
There we go. It was a nice one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wasn't it? That
That's
was
good.
kind of good there.